Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another Pokemon Go video. And in this video, we are going to be going over and looking at my local Tempest Cup tournament turnout. And I won't say what happened just yet, but you guys will see. I did pretty well. Um, there is one thing at the very end that annoyed me slightly, but I'll get into that with this video. So, anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoy these battles. I'm going to be commentating over them, and let's get right into them. So first off, we are facing against my first opponent, 123, a DKer, or however you pronounce his name. And I lead with Tropius, he leads with Celio. Um, this is a really good first matchup for me. Um, I don't need to block that body slam. I'm able to fire off that leaf blade. He blocks, which is really good for me. I was not expecting him to block. He can get off one final body slam, and we both KO at the same time. And I'm up 2 shields to his one. He gets a favorable switch up there to the Lantern. I switch into Quag, and then he switches into Skarmory there. I'm able to fire off a Stone Edge. Um, and right now I'm thinking I'm in a really good spot. I just need to make sure I can get rid of um, that Lantern there. So he blocks that Stone Edge, and I go to charge up one more. I'm able to get it off confidently. And I know I already won this match because I'm going to be able to get off an Earthquake before he can get off another Thunderbolt. And yeah, well played to him game one. That was a pretty good lead off for me, even though I allowed his Celio to pretty much beat my Tropius, but I didn't want to waste shields. Um, anyways, on to match two here, I open Quagsire, he opens Steelix, another favorable matchup for me. So right now I'm feeling pretty happy. I just want to break his shields with Earthquake, and I do break his first shield. I also shield because that Earthquake would do massive damage to my Quagsire, almost knocking it out. Um, as you can see, Quagsire is just a monster, and it can get off its Earthquake so quickly, forcing him to break both shields, but forcing me also to break both shields. He makes a clever switch into Skarmory. I switch into Skarmory myself for the mirror matchup. Um, I know this is, even though it's not going to favor me in the end, I'm going to be able to get off plenty of damage to his Skarmory, to where my Quagsire can come in and finish it off with a Stone Edge. Sorry for the coughs. But anyways, the mirror match from Boulder is here. He comes out on top there, but I do have a Quagsire with a full Stone Edge, so I do switch in there. I try to gain a little bit of extra energy before firing off my Stone Edge, so that when his Quagsire comes in, I can hit it straight off with an Earthquake. And, knowing he has no shields left, I use Earthquake. He's able to get off a Stone Edge to finish me. My last Pokemon is indeed Tropius, so I take out the Quagsire, and then I'm in a favorable matchup with Steelix with about half health left. So he gets off that final crunch, and I get off my final Leaf Blade, and that's GG for game two. So I take the first round of my local tournament 2-0. So yeah, well played to him. Now onto the second matchup is my friend Jen D. She leads off with, what is that, a Lantern? And I lead off with my Altaria here. You guys will see their teams up on the screen. But yeah, so they use a Thunderbolt after I use my Sky Attack, and I'm just going ham with that Dragon Breath. I wasn't really able to use Altaria much in this tournament, but it was used against me a lot, and it gave me a lot of trouble. So that's something to definitely look out for, because I mean, I didn't run an Ice Shard and Ice Beam Lapras. But anyways, they switch into a Wishcash with my Tropius in there, so they switch out to this Altaria, and I switch into Quagsire, so I can get off these Stone Edges. As you guys will know, Stone Edge does a ton of damage to Altaria since it's weak to Rock, the flying part is. I block that Sky Attack, and I'm able to finally get off that Stone Edge unshielded. And they're just able to beat me to my Stone Edge, so their Sky Attack KOs me. So I come in here with Tropius as my last Pokemon, and I take out the Altaria. All that's left there is their Wishcash. I was a little scared of Blizzard, but in the end, I take the first game. Okay, thank you, Windows notifications. Anyways, moving on here to, to game to match number or yeah to game number two. I lead with Tropius, Quag in the middle, and Altaria in the end. And they lead here with Wishcash. So yeah, this is a really great start to the game. I'm 4 times super effective to that. They switch into Quagsire, so I'm not really sure what was going on there, but they ran 2 things weak to Tropius, so yeah, right in the middle of that, they're just telling me that they weren't prepared for Tropius very much. So I mean, you can't blame them, but yeah, that's just how it ends up playing out. So anyways, Altera here against Skarmory doing work with that Dragon Breath as usual. Um, I'm able to get off that Sky Attack. They block, and I believe they used another shield earlier on Sky Attack as well. So I bring in my Quaggy because I know Quaggy can take care of the Skarmory quite well. I don't block that Sky Attack, so I wanted to keep a shield. I Stone Edge the Skarmory to death, and now it's Quaggy versus Wishcash, and I'm able to fire off 1 Stone Edge before I go out. And I know the Earthquake would have done more damage, but I needed to get off the Stone Edge because they would have KO'd me, I think. Yeah, I ended off with Tropius versus Wishcash, and that's 2-0 for round number 2. And right here I'm feeling really strong. I haven't lost a matchup yet. So yeah, GG, well played to her. Next for round number 3, we move on to Blue Frog Moon. Um, he opened with Obama Snow here against my Quaggy, so that was not good at all. So I switch into Skarmory here. He takes a second too long to switch, so I get some extra energy built up. I Sky Attack the Lantern there, and I notice this Lantern has Water Gun, so I feel a little bit more confident about being able to do more damage, so I don't need to switch here. Because I already did switch. But there I'm able to bring in my Tropius and knock out his Lantern with ease. And then he brings in Alolan Sandslash, which was a surprise because I hadn't really got much practice against it, but I know the typings. I know he has Blizzard, so I do block that. Um, and I just attempt to take out as much health from it as I can with Tropius. And then right here I make a switch into Quaggy. I do block that Blizzard because that would do a ton of damage to me. And finally I'm able to get off the Stone Edge, and he did not block. So yeah, I was actually talking to him. This is this is actually our last match. So like my recording messed up and it didn't hold on, let me pause this real quick. So that matchup I won 2-0 as well, but I guess when I recorded it and I went to save the recording, I guess it didn't save. But yeah, I beat him 2-0 as well. But that was our second match. So he was telling me that um he thought he was gonna lose, so that's why he didn't shield because I still had 2 Pokemon left. But I'm pretty sure if he would have just shielded that Stone Edge, he would have come out on top. But he told me it was he missed like the shield or something, so that's why he didn't shield. But yeah, anyways, well played to him. And GG's to everyone I fought so far, thus far in the tournament. Now we're on to our 4th round against. Let me back this up. Against Pogo Jojo 32, and let's get this playing. So I'm a little bummed last recording didn't save fully, but it is what it is. I start off with Quag against Alolan Sandslash here, and I know this is a favorable matchup for me. That Earthquake would do super effective. Stone Edge would do neutral, but as you can see there, it does a ton of damage regardless. I don't block that Gyro Ball because I know it's not very effective. I do block this one though, so I can preserve my Quaggy's health. Because as you can see, I have a Stone Edge and Earthquake. Here I fire off my Earthquake when they send in their Alolan Raichu. They block, but again, I have enough energy to fire off a second one, which they don't block, and that KOs it. Um, and finally, Quag can get off one more Stone Edge against that Skarmory. Quag is just a monster, guys. And now here I switch into my Lantern. Um, I'm able to get off that Thunderbolt here. And yeah, that's a GG well played to her in game one. Now going into game two here, I lead with Quaggy. I put my Lantern in the middle, and I end with Tropius, I believe. Yep, okay, that is indeed what I do here. Her lineup was pretty interesting, but yeah, she opens up with Raikou here. Another good opening matchup for me. Um, I fire off that Stone Edge to try to bait a shield, but they don't end up blocking it anyways, so I could have just done Earthquake, but, you know, it is what it is. Next they come in with Skarmory. I charge up enough energy for the Stone Edge, and I eventually switch out to Lantern again here. That Brave Bird doing like pretty much no damage, so there's no need to block. I can get off my Thunderbolt finally, and that KOs the Skarmory. They have one shield left. I have two, so this is obviously a really good spot for me to be in. I end up blocking that Gyro Ball just to keep my Lantern alive. I use Thunderbolt onto their Alolan Sandslash to break that last shield. And then I allow that Gyro Ball to hit, but it does literally essentially no damage. So yeah, I finish off this run with Thunderbolt, and yep, GG well played to my round four opponent. So far I haven't lost a single game. I've been 2-0 throughout all four opponents, and that's where the recording ends. So as a little note here, guys, this was a 5-round tournament. Um, and the reason I came in second is because I lost to this final opponent in round five. Uh, you'll see his lineup on the screen here, but basically, I did record it, but at the end of the match, I hit stop recording. I flicked up on my screen, and then all of a sudden, it just stopped the recording, and it didn't save to my photos, so or my videos. So I'm not really too sure what happened there, but to give you guys a recap of that final game, we played out all three matches. Um, in the first match, he beat me pretty heavily and convincingly. He still had two Pokemon remaining. His Altaria did a ton of work. Um, and yeah, basically, he beat me pretty hard in the first game. I came back with a win in the second game. We both basically led Altaria. I had a mirror match against this Quaggy that I think I ended up winning with Earthquake because I had a shield advantage, I believe, or a small like energy advantage. And then my Lantern was able to take out his Skarmory in the final match, or not in the final match, in the match I won. So yeah, it ended off with my Lantern against his Skarmory. He had no shields to block the T-Bolt, so I won that. And then basically in the third game, it was extremely close. Like, uh, I'll just use a representation with my fingers. His Altaria had about this much health left. Like it was in the red and pretty much like about 4 or 5 quick moves would have won me the game. But yeah, in that final match, he opened with an ice shard surf and ice beam Lapras. And guys, I stayed in with my Altaria lead. So yeah, I tried my best I could to win that. Um, basically his Lapras took me out with a little less than half HP left. Um, he switched his Lapras out. Once I switched into my, what was it? What did I switch into? Uh, I believe I switched into my Lantern once the Lapras killed my Altaria, so he switched out into um, Quagsire, I believe. And then we had a mirror match with Quaggy versus Lantern. My Quagsire ended up winning, I believe, and then his Lantern came back in to finish off my Quagsire. And then finally, my Lantern came in on his Lapras. Lantern was my last Pokemon. And since his Lapras had about a fourth health left, I basically my lantern had plenty of energy, by the way. But I basically farmed as much energy as I could because I knew Altaria would have been his last Pokemon. Um, so I basically farmed a ton of energy off of Lapras, enough to get a Thunderbolt and a half. Because as you guys know, the energy total for you to be able to save up is 100, and Thunderbolt is like what, like 50 or 60 energy, I believe. Um, Please don't quote me on that. I might be wrong. I'm guessing off the top of my head. Um, but yeah, I basically farmed a ton of energy. And right before he was gonna get off another Surf and Ice Beam, my Lantern had about a little less than half HP left. And then I actually used some energy to kill it with a Thunderbolt. And then yeah, when his Altaria came in, um, I wasn't surprised at all. I basically fired off a Thunderbolt instantly. I charged up a second one pretty fast. Charged that one up, and that's where his Skarmory got in the red. But throughout all this, his Dragon Breath was just doing so much damage that I wouldn't have had enough health or time to get another Thunderbolt off. And yeah, he finished me off with a Dragon Pulse, and I was pretty close to getting my last T-Bolt off, but he ended up winning with a sliver of health left, and I mean a sliver. Um, yeah, to take the win. It was me and him against each other in the finals, and yeah, he won it. But it sucks because my recording, I don't know, it didn't save, I guess. But yeah, I mean, regardless though, it was a really good tournament. There was like 17 people, so 5 rounds was pretty epic. I was really happy about the turnout, and I placed really well. But it always sucks to work your way all the way up to being 4-0 and then just losing in the finals to get second. But it happens to the best of us. And yeah, I just had to learn to deal with Altaria better. And yeah, his Lapras pick really, I think, won him that game. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm pretty happy about the turnout. I came second out of 17 people. Um, I had pretty strong games and pretty strong wins throughout up until that point. But I'm glad I didn't lose 0-2. I made a comeback and almost was able to win the entire thing, but it happens. But yeah, I hope all of you guys watching um, had a good tournament, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the bell right next to subscribe if you'd like to be notified every single time I upload. And until next time, guys, I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.